Jack, what kind of response have you had from your players this week?
Yeah, as I imagine, they train and perform on a daily basis at a good level. We've set high standards here, so I didn't expect it to be any different in terms of the aftermath of not losing the game, but the type of performance produced. But in the lead up to the Dundee United game, they had been at those levels, so that's why the game was so out of character for us. But the response from them has been as expected, and obviously there's a determination to put last week's performance right, get back to playing well, and winning games, which we've done fairly consistently, obviously, for a decent period now.
Have you had to have a number of conversations just reiterating the standard that you want from those players and what they should be performing at?
Well, I repeat myself a little bit, but we communicate all the time here. It's not like I don't speak to players, so just the content of the conversation, whether that's collectively and individually, can change at times. I spoke publicly in the aftermath of the game, but everything I said I'd already told the players within the dressing room. And then we dealt with some fallout from that at the beginning of the week in terms of aspects that I wasn't happy with, and they could do better, and they're honest. I trust them, and they know that. And I think hopefully they trust in what we do, so they would acknowledge that. But then it's about affecting what lies ahead. So it's the balance between understanding what parts of the game you didn't do well, but reminding them and them reminding themselves of what they've done well for a long period now, but they need to get back to doing that Saturday.
Yeah, and that defeat saw us drop out of the top four, obviously for the first time in 18 months, but it shows how competitive this league is this year. A couple of results that go against you and things can change dramatically.
Yeah, I'm going to say dramatically. We first of all, it annoyed me coming out of the top four. It's annoyed the group because we've worked damn hard at staying there, and to do that for that period of time is not easy. But you've got a chance at the weekend to go right back into it by winning, and that's a big driver for us. And then I wouldn't say we've been victims of our own success, because what we've done is for the last year and a half been in a position that Hib should be as a club, and I will create my own criticism at times by wanting standards to be high and wanting us to achieve. But I'm prepared to do that because I think we're good enough to achieve it, and I think I'm good enough to lead a team to do that. But we've got to get back to playing well and winning games, as I mentioned earlier, and that starts at the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Against an Aberdeen side that have had a difficult run of form of late.
Yeah, they've obviously been criticised because the expectation for them will be that they're in a much higher position than they're in, and that happens when you work at big clubs. It's the same for me here. So we have to use that to advantage in terms of producing the type of performance that will win us the game. But that focus has been very much on us and not the opposition. I think on the back of the weekend, it wouldn't have mattered who we were playing this Saturday. It would be about us reproducing the performance that we have done fairly consistently. And a lot of hard work this week has been aimed towards that.
What do you expect from them in terms of style?
Well, I think much is made of when new managers comes in and changes style. The truth is, within Scottish football, there are variances of themes, but the games are competitive. There is an intensity about fixtures. I think the fans being back in the stadium this season, we've seen that. It's a hugely competitive league. So it just offers us the type of challenge we normally expect going away from home. How we deal for tactically, we do that anyway in terms of how we prepare for what threats they offer, but how we feel we can exploit weaknesses they have and we can win the game. So we've had a good week in terms of preparing for that. We feel as if we have enough ability and capability within the squad to go and win that game, and we did so the last time we were at Pittodrie. But as I keep repeating myself, we've got to be a lot better than we were last weekend to do so.
In terms of team news and bodies back, how are Kyle and Paul, first of all?
Paul McGinn back in the squad. He's trained well this week. Kyle still absent. Unfortunately, might not be available until the international break. It was a troublesome groin injury, so it's hugely frustrating for him and for me because of the form he was in. Dan Mackay suffered quite a nasty ankle injury a couple of weeks ago, so he's out for the foreseeable future. Obviously, Christian Dodge, Melke Helberg, Sean Mackey. So we've had a number of injuries recently. I don't think we've made too much of it. I think we've accepted that it's part of the game and we're trying to do the best we can in the circumstances, but it's meant we've been a little bit stretched in certain areas in terms of having freshness of options, if you like, but certainly having Paul McGinn back is a boost for us.
Absolutely. And just finally, we sold out the initial allocation for Aberdeen. How important could our supporters be this weekend?
Well, they always are. within our own stadium, and now they're allowed to travel away from home. We've seen that firsthand this season at Fir Park, at Tynecastle, at Dens. Didn't have them at Ibrox, but they would have helped us massively in that type of afternoon as well. So having them there at the weekend is big for us, but we have to repay that commitment and the effort it makes to travel to that game by producing, first of all, the performance that's reflective of the club. If we do that, then the result will take care of itself.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for speaking to us, and good luck this weekend.
Cheers, Adam.